Hello and welcome back to our channel. This is just a quick video that I'm doing in response to kind of an SOS call on one of the Facebook pages that I am a member of. Somebody posted a picture of someone with a very swollen hand, and the individual had been stung by an insect, and the hand looked like a big fat sausage. And everybody was recommending to use charcoal poultices. Not everybody, but a lot of people were recommending charcoal poultices. And I want to be the first to say that I strongly believe in the charcoal poultice as a remedy. But we really need to educate ourselves as to what is the best treatment to use under different circumstances. When you have a lot of these insect bites, or infected wounds and things like that can actually become life-threatening fairly quickly if we don't give the proper intervention. And we really want to try, those of us who believe in natural remedies, we want to try to avoid the use of antibiotics and other drugs and medications as much as possible. Now, you know, here's my disclaimer. The FDA says I don't know what I'm talking about and you need to do your own research, so there it is. But I'm going to tell you what I have done in situations where I've had infected wounds, bites, stings, stuff like that. The most powerful remedy that I have found is for infected wounds, and I'll tell you a personal experience which I've shared in other videos, is that of the charcoal contrast bath, where you take a big container full of hot water with charcoal in it, and then a smaller container full of cold water, and you do a contrast bath back and forth. And I'll take you inside in just a minute and just sort of run you through it with what I've improvised. We're traveling right now, so I don't have my own stuff, but I can improvise and I can show you what to do. But I had, it's been several years ago. I was down, we're in North Dakota right now, and we lived in North Dakota at the time, and I had flown down to Alabama to visit my family. And while I was there, I went to visit a friend of mine I used to ride horses with all of the time. And we were the kind of friends that, you know, you just sort of tap on the door and walk in. And we had been outside talking, and she went inside for something, and her husband came up. I talked to him for a while, and then I went inside to talk with her. Of course, tapped on the door and walked on in. I did not know that she had a new dog and a new grandbaby inside, and the new dog did not know me. And that dog was a black-mouthed cur, which has a pretty hefty bite force, not too much shy of the bite force of a German Shepherd. And so the dog met me at the front door and just clamped down on my forearm, and his teeth, the big canine teeth, went right to the bone. I could feel just a crushing weight right on my forearm, the bone here on my forearm. And I thought, well, that's not a good thing. You know, I don't really have much with me here. So we washed it thoroughly, and I went home. My mother had a little bit of charcoal, and I made some poultices, and it was just another day or two before I was to fly back to North Dakota. So I made several poultices, and on the flight back I ran out of poultices, and I wasn't able to change it as often as I needed to. So by the time I got back home here to North Dakota, where we were living at the time, the red streaks were going up my forearm, and it was extremely painful and very swollen. And most people think of it as the red streaks of infection, blood poisoning, some people call it. And that is serious. If I had gone to the emergency room, they would have given me IV antibiotics, and I probably would have been on antibiotics by mouth even. But I didn't want to do that. And so what I did is the charcoal hot and cold contrast, and within 24 hours, all of the red streaks were gone, most of the swelling was gone, and most of the pain was gone. So let me take you inside and show you just an improvisation, because again, I'm not at home, I don't have my stuff, but let me show you what I did. Okay guys, I'm at my mother-in-law's and I raided her basement down there to see what I could find to show you how to do this. And this is what I came up with. So what I did whenever I had that bite, and I've done this for other infected wounds, this works really great. A lot of people get injuries on their hands or on their feet, their forearm, lower leg. If you have the foot, ankle, lower leg, something like that, it's good to have a 5-gallon bucket. And I'm sorry I'm headless here, but I'm just trying to get this done quick because people need to know what to do for this individual. What I did was I filled I had a huge stainless steel bowl that I make bread in, and I filled it as full as I could get it with water as hot as I could tolerate. And I put about a half a cup of charcoal powder, activated charcoal powder, in that hot water. And then I just put the bite was here on my forearm. You can still see the scars where it was. But I just put my whole arm, as much as I could get, down in that hot water for 3 minutes. And then where we were living at the time was on a ranch, and the water that came out of the tap from the well was extreme. It was like, I don't know, 45, 50 degrees. So it was very cold, and it was enough to give that contrast because my hot water was so hot. But I did 3 minutes here, and then I did 30 seconds, 20 to 30 seconds in the cold, and then back in the hot. And I exchanged that back and forth. I did a more aggressive treatment. I did that about 7 exchanges, and I did that treatment twice a day. And in between, actually not in between, but at night, I did wear the charcoal poultice. So hot as can be tolerated. Be careful if the person has diabetes, you don't want to burn them. Half a cup, don't be afraid to put charcoal in there, and we'll talk about that more in just a minute. Put the charcoal in the hot water. When you put the extremity in the hot water, of course, it's going to vasodilate or open up those blood vessels. And then you have that charcoal in there, and that charcoal is acting like a filter to filter out the poisons from the blood, and it really draws and pulls it out. And then when you put the cold, of course, it constricts those vessels. So you're creating this pumping effect, okay? And this is an extremely powerful treatment for any kind of infection. So please utilize this treatment. Try it. I have had incredible success with this. Okay, now I'm going to change the camera position, and we'll talk just a little bit more about some issues with the charcoal that may come to your mind. Okay, so invariably whenever I talk with people about using charcoal on a wound or something, especially a cut, an infected cut or something like that, invariably the topic comes up, well, what about tattooing? Is that going to tattoo my skin? And I guess my first response to that I have to sort of subdue, because I've worked in emergency medicine, I worked in critical care and things like that, and you don't really, I mean, cosmetic stuff, appearance is not, to me, that important when it comes to someone's life being threatened. And so I don't really worry about that. But I will say this, I have never had charcoal tattoo a wound. So it's not something that I would be concerned about. If somebody's life is at stake, I'm going to do this treatment. And if they want to sue me because I tattooed their skin but I saved their life, well, that goes with them. And I believe the Lord will take care of me. But again, you do your own research. You do as the Lord leads you. But this is what I have found to be more effective than anything else, including charcoal poultices. Not in any way disparaging the charcoal poultice, but when you have a wound that's very infected, an insect bite that is really swollen up, and I'll try to put some pictures in of at least similar. I'll try to get permission to put the picture in that I'm specifically responding to with this video. I'll try to get permission to put that actual picture in here. But I will put pictures of my experience. Now, when I actually took the picture, the red streaks had already gone. I was kind of, I wouldn't say in panic mode, but I was definitely in emergency mode because I knew I was in trouble. And so my focus was not on taking pictures, but on on taking care of my arm, because I didn't have anybody to help me at the time. And so it was just me and Jesus, and the Lord gave me the wisdom to know how to do what I needed to do, and He answered my prayers, and I believe that He will answer your prayers as you put your faith in His remedies. He will bless. And so I encourage you to try this treatment and all of God's natural treatments, and I believe He will bless your efforts.